What's going on, world? It's your boy Gemini Brown here, back with another episode of Nalo Kicking Knowledge. So, I just wanted to give some thoughts on Uranus and Taurus, offer some advice on how to tap into this energy and really take a look at how it's playing out collectively so far. So, I just saw that Tekashi 69's, the infamous Snitch 9, has bounced back with a #1 record. The single that he put out with Nicki Minaj, Trolls, is number one on the billboards. And for me, through my astrological vision, that is very much so Uranus and Taurus. And the reason being is that, let's start with Uranus. Uranus represents rebellion, revolution, the changing of the status quo, okay? So, as we know, Capricorn is like an energy that likes to have control and power, and it revolves around structures. So we build and we put certain structures in place, and people want to maintain that status quo. But then Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus, is the next sign. And that represents the upheaval of the status quo. Because eventually, over time, things get outdated. We need to think and see things from a different perspective. So with Uranus being here in Taurus, Taurus being a fixed sign, and probably the most fixed of the fixed signs, Taurus is about the things that we value, okay? It sextiles the 4th house, which relates to our conditioning. So the 4th house is like our cultural or familial conditioning, and then the 2nd house is just the value that we take away from those particular things. All right, and naturally that Taurus squares Aquarius. Okay, so it's hard for us to accept the changes in the things that when our values need to change. All right, we tend to hold on to that. So with Uranus here in Taurus, this is really representing the changing of certain structures, as well as social things that we once valued. And I relate this to Tekashi, because this was a huge thing for him to go ahead and tell on the people that he told on, and clearly snitch. This went against everything, the structure in which hip-hop was built upon. It's like, or the code of the streets, all of that. He went against that. This is supposed to be career suicide. But in this day and age, what we're seeing here is that old frame of mind and the people, in their progression, they don't hold the same value on those particular codes or ethics, right? So I say all that to say this is that, with Uranus and Taurus, the best thing you could do for yourself is to recognize where you need to accept change at. Now, I'm not telling anyone they need to go ahead and support Tekashi or be okay with whatever, but overall, what we can see here is that you can't keep, when someone is meant for success or they are following the will of their soul, no matter how hard you try to hold on to that, you can't stop them from prospering. And that's the thing astrology could show us. And the interesting thing about Tekashi in particular is that he has this Uranian energy transiting his sun, okay? And I believe his Mars as well. And on top of it, right now, this year of all years is his Jupiter return. So luck is very much so on his side, right? So, like I said, there are old values and codes of ethics that we're holding on to, but Uranus and Taurus is eradicating that. So for yourself, like I said, identify where you need to change and get hit with the times, right? The next area in which we can see this manifesting is within the realm of sports. Two things in particular. So we have this NASCAR driver, Bubba Wallace, who, you know, called for, you know, the Confederate flag to be banned from, you know, NASCAR events and all of that. And based on everything right now, the leverage that, you know, people of color have, this was able to go on. But of course he's meeting adversity and things like that, because there are people who don't want to move outside of that mind frame. But at the end of the day, old structures dying. It got the law got passed, okay? And then we have the athletes, particularly the NBA players, understanding their value and, you know, staking more of a claim to not accept particular circumstances, saying that we don't have to play, we have a choice, okay? So like I said, ways of things being are fading out, okay? Change is inevitable. Those who remain stuck will get you can walk with the current, or flow with the current, or you can get moved. All right, I suggest walking with it. Then the biggest thing here I want to really talk about with this actually is, you know, Taurus is also our ability to generate wealth, okay? And the value that comes from, you know, all of that. So another great way, people, and this is me giving you guys a heads up to look forward, you need to find ways to expand your income. You can't rely on traditional ways of making money. If you're not, this whole theme has been in the works since Pluto's gone into Capricorn. This is the age of innovation, of entrepreneurship. Everybody's got to hustle. Everybody's specializing in something. So as this North Node flows through Gemini, which is about skills, intellect, learning, right? We need to be developing skills that we can use to further capitalize and help our ability to generate income. Capricorn, remember, is authority. It is your boss. It is your CEO. And as Saturn, you know, goes back into Capricorn and then eventually back into Aquarius, we need to evaluate what has worked and what hasn't worked in terms of, you know, certain business structures or you know, within our career, okay? So it's going to be a lot of movement. This isn't a time where we can be stagnated, or things will never be the same. So it's really out with the old, in with the new. So overall, I'm telling you, people, invest within yourself, you know, in terms of, like, you know, the racial tension and things like that. The writing is on the wall. The protests and everything are cool. But until we strategically find a way to change the financial gap that exists among the races and, you know, classes and things like that, till we have more economic unity, not much change is going to be enacted. So keep your ears and your eyes open towards innovative things outside the box. That's Uranus as well. All right, things outside, something different, an unconventional approach. All right, and really just think, what skills do I have that I can personally utilize? How can I be my own boss? All right, so that was just a little, you know, quick chat with Uranus and Taurus. Keep in mind, next year Uranus and Saturn are going to be